Perfectionism kills companies.
What are the lessons that you can take from the sports field and apply into business?
Elite is a competitive asset. Average is meaningless. AI is a refrigerator.
How do you, I suppose, as a leader, gather respect? Phil Evans.
Good start.
Lawyer, investor, and co-founding director of Collab8 Technologies, empowering companies to engage more with AI. Now, you use the term collaborative intelligence constantly, but what does that look like in the daily, and why does it matter?
Collab8 Technologies is, it's the play on the word collaborative, right? It's around in the ecosystems we're in, startup, scale-up, investment, technology. The true solution still sits within human beings. I believe that powerfully. We believe if you use that collaborative intelligence, which is wrap intelligence around human beings in the right way, give them a kind of increased performance ability, then that's going to be the way that you carve out success in the medium to long term. Mm-hmm. Business A goes lean, uses technology, cuts back on the human resource. Business B wraps it around. I think business B outperforms in the long term because they're able to operate at ultimately better capacity or bigger capacity.
Okay, I suppose if I'm a founder of a company and I want to instill that collaborative intelligence and try some things out, what's step one?
I think the first thing that people really need to understand is what is it they're trying to achieve over what time period, and then you can kind of work back from that and look at the gaps as to where they are now, where they need to be, what kind of investments need to be made, and where. I don't have to worry about what I'm doing today. I have to worry what the business looks like in 6 months.
Oh, okay.
And when you start to kind of force people to take that view, that's when you can kind of really build strategy.
What's really interesting is the time when you pivoted into coaching and performance sport. First of all, what are the lessons that you can take from the sports field and apply into business? How does that transplant itself?
Sport exists on periodization. The best people in the world aren't the best people all the time. They're the best people when it matters. Mm-hmm. And in order to understand when to peak, you train around understanding when you're required. I see so many CEOs, particularly in startups, it's a necessity, but they do everything all the time. It's unsustainable from a human energy point of view. And the second thing is when it comes to building teams, in sport, no one's interested in average. They find what you're good at and they just make you world class at it. And you see in mid-level organizations in particular that are maybe stalling on their growth paths, that they spent a huge amount of time building average. How many appraisals you've been to where they just talk about what needs to be kind of gone, where you need help improving. Does that really matter? Where are you really, really good? And where, if we just invested a little bit, and maybe from good to great, that becomes a competitive asset within the business. Elite is a competitive asset. Average is meaningless. If you don't have a level of self-discipline or self-awareness, you're going to struggle as a founder. So I think you have to really invest in yourself. I think you really do have to spend time understanding what makes you tick. And getting really comfortable with it. Sometimes you kind of find out that maybe I'm not who I really want to portray that I am, but in order to kind of shift that portrayal, that's a huge amount of energy all the time. So let's just get comfortable. But being really comfortable with who you are is a tough thing to do, actually.
Did you ever get there for yourself? How did you find it out?
Well, I did an MBA. I came to it, I was one of the oldest people in the year, and I came to it academically terrified, thinking, when's the last time I sat an exam, or when do I know enough about maths and finance? And actually, it's not really about that. You have a level of experience and maturity, so you're able to handle some kind of high pressure situations that arise during these programs, but only because you've been there in a real life environment.
What's the one thing or multiple things that you learned at the MBA, lesson that you learned that you didn't expect to learn whilst you were there?
Perfectionism kills companies. Right, done is better than perfect. Get it out there, get it going. That kind of requirement to get something from 85% to 95% is just very rarely economically worth it. And as a kind of weird perfectionist, that's really difficult. That's really difficult. But you study huge business. You learn from people that have operated massive companies that are on the program, and you suddenly become aware that everyone's human. And that's probably a better way of putting it.
Yeah. Because you obviously work within a team, lead teams, but how do you, I suppose, as a leader, gather respect from your team? It's something that not many people talk about, but it's a crucial part of leading, I think.
Sometimes as a leader, particularly as a new leader, doing nothing is okay.
Really?
Don't feel the need to come in and change stuff to prove your own self-worth. Organizations are like boats, right? Startups are small and nimble and they're dinghies, they can move. Bigger businesses are, they're oil tankers. Even if I turn the steering wheel, nothing happens. So I really need to understand what's going on within that environment. I need to understand where failure sat. I need to understand whether or not failure meant the business got stronger rather than weaker, and what can we reinvest into the company as a basis of that.
Really? So what changed it within you to come to that realization?
Understanding that ego isn't leadership in that environment. Why are you changing it? Because you need to change something and prove you're worthy to be there as a leader? Or are you actually making decisions that are in the best interest of the people in the business? As a test of a leader, can you leave the business? Can you go on holiday? Can you take 2 weeks? Can you take 4 weeks? Can you take 6 months? Could you take a year off? Now, I'd argue if you can take a year out of your business as the leader, then you've probably been a pretty good leader.
Yeah.
Right. If you can't take a week out, I think you're leading through ego.
We've spoken about so much today, but what's the one thing that we should have spoken about that perhaps we didn't?
Terma, watch this space. It's coming soon. It's I think it encapsulates experience everything that I've been and the team have been through over a number of years, and it kind of brings it together with the opportunity around the technology. Someone gave an example on Instagram or TikTok, something I saw the other day, where AI is a refrigerator, and people that made fridges made a lot of money, but Coca-Cola that put stuff in fridges made even more. And it's how you use the technology that creates it's the application of the technology that creates value. And when people talk about the AI bubble, that's what people are really starting to realise, that the product is okay. The product is mind-blowing, but the money is in the application and the value is in the application. And how you use technology will still ultimately be a human-led decision and a human-led problem solve. So you can't really take us out of the loop just yet, I don't think.
Phil, thank you so much for your time.
No,
I think
twisting my arm.
Yeah, it was tough to get you on, but I got there eventually. Had to drag you all the way down from upstairs. Yeah. And I really love the 2 lessons that you had on sports and how they apply to business. I know I'm certainly going to be using that. It's been amazing. So thank you very much for coming on podcast.
No worries. Appreciate it.